Been working out. I'm like on day 7, so I'm taking that off while I film because it's tacky. Okay. Today we're dipping into the Natasha Denona. This is the bronze palette, recently released. There's been a lot of people that have done videos on this already. I, in fact, did a video on this and the whole SD card was blurry. So, we're doing it again. And I figured I would just talk you guys through it instead of playing music. Sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of change, so I hope you guys are okay with that. And of course I'm gonna get distracted and I'm not gonna be putting on makeup while I'm thinking. Sorry. So today, what I have so far going on, I have been playing with this Natasha Denona. This is the Face Glow Foundation SPF 15. I'm in the shade 40. It may be just a touch light, but it's also very sheer, and it does give me a little tiny bit of coverage. It just kind of maybe smooths out the tone a little bit without being like a full coverage. I actually am really enjoying this, especially for summer when you got a little bit of color anyway, so you don't need to go like super heavy coverage. So I have this on. I also bought this sculpting powder, and so I do have that on a little bit. I don't know how I feel about this. This is the second time I've used it, and I think that it's because it's a powder and it feels like I've been doing more contouring with creams lately. I'm just not, the jury's still out on this. I did buy it in shade Light. That's what Light looks like over the top of that Glow foundation. Also on my lips, I've got a Natasha Denona lip pencil. It's in the shade L2, I believe. And then I did use a little bit of like this Essence nude color, which is in the shade 01. I'm pretty sure that's just a nude. I do have 2 Natasha Denona lip colors. Today I used Natasha just in the center. Brings it a little bit more dimension to my lips, make it a little bit more fuller. And you know, I'm a lady of a certain age, so we gotta fake whatever we can. All right, I have just this transition shade right here. The first one I put on is called Beach. And I do have it over the top of some Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas eye base. I heard they had a big like 51% off sale. I don't know when this goes up, probably on Friday. I don't know that they'll still have it, but I hope they do. So anyway, I'm not unhappy with the kind of monochromatic thing that I've gone on right now. I'm gonna go into this color right here next, and it is called Ridge. And I'm gonna take a little bit smaller of a brush because I really wanna put that right in where my crease is. And then I'll buff it out right where I want my crease to be. So I've been watching people's videos lately about how they're feeling about coronavirus and what's going on with that, people that are heading back to work and stuff. I'm just curious as to how you guys feel about the whole thing. Are you guys kind of over it? Are you guys more worried because of the resurgence or the uptick in cases? Do you feel like we have more cases because people are more relaxed, or do you just feel like we have more cases because people are getting tested? I still have not been tested. My temperature, like we take our temperature quite a bit. And back in March, I mean, I had a number of days where my temperature was like 100.4, but never more than that. But since then it's been like 98 point something, no higher than like 99. It just depends on the time of day and what I've been doing and my under a blanket. I sometimes do that in the evening because the AC in our living room is kind of like right above where we watch TV. Speaking of TV, what have you guys been watching? We watched Money Heist until that was done, and then we've been watching Dark, but I think we're in season 3 of Dark and my husband's just over it. It's too much bouncing around in time zones, time frames, and planets and alternate worlds, and it's just too hard to keep track of. Okay, so these bronze colors, like I'm gonna go back in with the brush I used for that first shade and just try to buff this in. I feel like I got a little patchy right here. I want it to be just a little smoother. I think I want to take this dramatic. I'm gonna go in with a deep dive on the outer corner, and we're gonna start small and kind of build it up here. So I'm starting near my lash line, and I am just packing that on, and then I'm gonna work my way up. And I'm going to work my way up until it's above my crease, because I want to give myself a little bit more of I want my hood to look more like this as opposed to like this. So we're just going to keep spreading it up. And then I am going to bring it over into the center just a little bit, because I want to give my eye a little bit more of that lifted look. Always amazed at the power of makeup. That looks already so much better. I really do like this kind of super dark, crazy look. It's the darkest shade in the palette. I know a lot of people complained about this palette about not having like a highlighter shade, but I kind of feel like that's what the bronzer palette, the face palette's for, and I'll about that too. I didn't buy any of the lip products, you guys. So I recently went through and organized a bunch of my cosmetics, and I bought this cart. It's great, except for I now realize how much I really do have and how I just need to slow my roll. As I say that, as I'm waiting for the UPS and FedEx drivers to drop off more stuff. I have so much lip that I don't need it anymore. And I've been going more nudes, maybe like a blush nude, maybe a caramel nude, but I just have been focused on nudes. And I've never been like, maybe sometimes in the summer I'll wear like a bold lip, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I've worn like a super bold lip. I think it's because I usually do heavier eyeshadow, the hooded lids, and trying to compensate. So anyway, the lipsticks in the collection, one of them seemed like it would be too dark. One of them seemed like it would be pretty good. Then I just felt like, do I really need any more lipsticks? I'm just going to take that first brush that I used with the transition shade and just kind of shear it out just a little bit. Okay, the formula in this is so good. So I'm just going to drag that. I need to stipple just a little tiny bit. I'm just dragging it under the outer corner, kind of almost to match up top and bottom what I have going on there. I think I mentioned before that my husband and I finally took a bunch of stuff to donate. And when we did that, we were able to make enough room. We had some equipment that I've been walking by in my living room forever, but not actually using. So we took it out to the, I'm going to use this duochrome here, which is called rhodium. And that's going to go on most of my movable lid, or what's left exposed on it. So we took that equipment out into the garage and some other stuff that we'd kind of picked up. I finally have a home gym that gives me kind of what I need. I've been working out 7 days now. I'm just starting to feel a little bit better, both mentally and physically. I just feel like I've got such a long way to go. This color with a brush, it's not as saturated, I don't think, as when you use your finger. And I'm gonna go back over it and intensify it here just in a second. All right, I'm gonna take a little bit more of that duochrome rhodium on my finger, and we're just gonna build up just a little bit more. It ends up being just a little bit more metallic-y, I think. Okay, you guys, I need to know, who do you like better, Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath? When you're talking about ridiculously expensive, high-end, and there's so much inexpensive eyeshadow palettes out there, and it's hard to even want to try these, but I gotta tell you, quality in this is so good. It just feels very easy to put together looks, like you don't have to really struggle very hard. Okay, I'm gonna take, what is this one called? Silk. I'm gonna use Silk just to kind of brighten up just the center of that. Oh my gosh, that color is so beautiful. I think when you do a lighter color like that, it really just kind of gives your eye a little bit more roundness. And when I'm already doing something that's kind of cat eye-like anyway, it just brings a little bit more dimension to that lid. This is so dark and feels so dark and heavy. It's just a smoky, sultry kind of look. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with rhodium just a little bit underneath my lower lash line. And I'm actually kind of really liking the way this is looking right now. I feel like it's pretty heavy. We're just gonna buff this a little bit and see if we can't get it to lighten up just a little tiny bit. These colors are so pigmented, you guys. I'm almost feeling like I didn't need to go in with ridge in my crease because I just kind of ended up covering it up over anyway. I am gonna go into the bronze cheek palette. I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is Super Glow Nude. I'm gonna take this on brush here just on the inner corner and just a little bit below and a little bit above. I love that look. I need some mascara. I'm trying to decide if I want to do any eyeliner or not. Maybe not. Maybe just some mascara. I feel like if you were going to do this as a true, sultry, exotic kind of look, you would do some false eyelashes, but I'm not going to do any right now because I'm just going to end up taking it off. I think I'm going to use my Thrive Cosmetics. I'll be right back. Mascara's on. It feels exotic. It feels smoky. Just me doing crazy, a little bit bold. Would I leave the house with my eyes like this? Yeah, for date night I probably would. Normally I do much lighter if I'm going to go super dark on the outside, but I really just wanted to play with these colors together. So I'm going to go in with this bronze palette now. There's been a lot of mixed reviews on this bounce formula that she's got in here, so we're just going to play with it a little bit. So we're going to take the lightest shade in here, which is called Bounce Cream Glow, and we are going to tap a little bit of this up here. Let's just get our glow on. Personally, I think this is the one that people struggle the most with from what I've seen, because it feels like they don't get as much as they expect. We've kind of been spoiled with highlighters these days. But I think it does give like a really pretty, just subtle sheen. And I do think it does make a really good inner corner highlight from what I've played with it so far. It's just a weird consistency. And to me, it is so subtle. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the Bounce Cream Blush. Now, I'm a lady of a certain age. I gotta be honest, all of these like super shiny Natasha Denona colors, I try to keep off of my texture. So I will use like a mattifying setting powder sometimes or something just to kind of blur that. I do have on my face a little bit of the e.l.f. Poreless Putty. You guys, I just love that stuff. I think that's okay. Would I go out with this? Just this alone? I would. I don't hate it. I'm gonna go a little bit extra though, and I'm gonna take the bronzer, Super Glow Bronze. Let's just get our glow on, you know? And take a little bit of a fluffier brush. And that brings a whole lot of orange glow to it, doesn't it? Sun-kissed, bronzy, hot summer nights. Okay. And now I'm going to actually just go over the top of it too with this Super Glow Nude. I use this for my inner corner. Take this up a whole little notch here. I just think it's so important to just keep it out of the crow's feet. That's a whole lot of glowy, bronzy, summery goodness. This palette, the eyeshadow palette, the face palette, the cheek palette takes a little bit of time to figure out, in my opinion. Like, it wasn't just a super easy, oh, this makes sense. It actually took a little bit for me to kind of figure out how to work it with me keeping it away from any texture, keeping it away from the crow's feet, being okay with the glowy bronziness that I don't always do. This eye look though, wow, smoky. Opens my eyes a little bit, but yet, you know, darker colors, they do tend to close the eyes. I don't know. I just think it's really pretty. I'm gonna come up with another one. Let's do another look. I'm gonna take this off and we'll be right back with look number 2. Boy, you know, the colors that you're left with are very warm, and these are not like icy cold, but they are definitely a cooler tone. So we're gonna go in, I wanna use Sundown as my transition / crease shadow. Let's just start with that, and a little bit of kick up in the pan, just in case you were at all curious. And I did go back in with my Gerard Cosmetics Clean Canvas Eye Base. Should we do something simple this time? I mean, the last look was really simple, very easy. And here's the thing with these shades, are very easy to apply, easy to come up with looks. And I think some people, you know, if you look at palettes and you're like, I don't really know what colors to put together, I almost think you can't go wrong with any combination with this. You've got really like 4 mattes. These 2 are kind of lighter, these 2 are kind of darker. If you're normally like a matte gal and a little bit of a shimmer, you could literally do a different shimmer over your lid and it'll be spectacular. Okay, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna actually do something like that. I'm gonna take the shade Bliss, which I think might also be kind of a duochrome, because it seems like it has a lot of different colors on it. And I'm just going to take it on my finger onto the movable lid. And I don't have anything else other than just that transition shade. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody use this as a topper on top of other colors, and I can see doing that. I also think for just a subtle color, it's actually really lovely. So I used Sundown and then Bliss, and I'm gonna take the shade Suntan, which is this one right here, just on the outer corner, just to kind of darken the things up a little bit. And I'm just gonna use the same fluffy brush I used with Sundown. And I just feel like these colors just really go together very well. And of course I'm trying to get high enough to minimize that hood a little bit. For a lighter, more daytime look, I really like this so far. I am going to take a little bit of this. It's called True Bronze. And I feel like I want to put just a little bit of that right in the center. All right, you guys, I think that is just really more subtle bronze than the last look, which was so smoky. Put on some eyeliner, put on some mascara, and I'll be right back. Okay, for just an easy monochromatic look, I really do like this. I'm going to go in with that Bounce Cream, the lightest one in here. Let's see, I'm gonna use it to lighten up my inner corner and maybe my brow bone a little bit. I'm gonna use a brush this time, pick up just a little bit of it. I don't know why people complain about this formula so much. It's subtle, it's soft. It is not blinding or high impact or highly pigmented like so many of the other shades. I actually really do like it. And I'm not just waxing poetic on Natasha Denona because it's so expensive or because I'm trying to justify it at all. I actually really do like it. I would be honest, you guys, I don't get anything in PR. I'm not sponsored, affiliated, endorsed. I have no ulterior motive other than just to give you my honest opinion, because I want to ask the question, can a lady of a certain age who's not a makeup artist, can she get at least 3 looks out of one palette? Now, this is a pretty large size palette. 15 shades, you should be able to have lots of options, but we've seen palettes from other people where you get a lot of like the same browns and orange. This gives you a little bit of a variety other than just brown and orange. I have heard that some of the shades are a dupe for the Metropolis palette, and I think if you put these two together, you could maybe kind of see how some of them are the same. I think if you are not into greens, maybe skip Metropolis. If you don't like those greens and the blues, maybe skip that one and just stick with the bronze palette. I think I asked you guys earlier too, who do you prefer? Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath? The reason why I ask is they've both come out with relatively new palettes about the same time. Like we got the bronze palette and then we got the Divine Rose 2 Mothership palette, and I love that palette. That palette to me is, if you have one that you're panning, then that's a fantastic one. This one, I don't know that this one gives me enough to have it be like my one palette that I forever use. This to me is a summer palette or a wardrobe palette. Like, and what I mean by that is when you're wearing something that kind of supports the bronzy colors, by all means. Sometimes bronzes can feel kind of muddy or dirty and I don't know how to describe it, but there's sometimes that you can get bronzes that just feel not as sweet and innocent. I guess that's the whole point, because you've been outside and you're getting sun-kissed. Okay, I'm gonna grab, I actually do want to go back in with Bliss, this super weird duochrome. I think it's a duochrome. I should probably look up the stuff before I start telling you guys. But I'm just going to go a little bit with that in here because I think that softens it up. This might apply better with the damp brush. To me, it's a unique color because it's kind of apricot-y. But this is look number 2 with the Natasha Denona bronze palette. It is much more of a light, everyday, daytime, like maybe even going to work kind of looks. It's just like, okay, super easy, super simple. I think it does what makeup is supposed to do, which is accentuate what you have. Maybe camouflage or shift the eye away from certain things that you don't like so much. Look number 2, I mean, I just went from date night to totally work appropriate. So I'm gonna take this off and let's try another one. Let's do some of these that are more on the red tone and see what that looks like. Back for my third and final look for today. I think I'm gonna go in with Ridge as my transition slash crease shade. It's a little darker, but I'm gonna use these really much more redder tones right now. And I feel like we haven't used quite all the shades in here, so we're gonna use a few more. All right, got a little bit of a transition slash crease shade on here. I'm gonna go in with kind of chestnut matte in here called Magna. And I'm gonna take just a flat, smaller brush, and we're just gonna put it right up against the lash line. And then we'll build it up a little bit. And I'm just keep going in and packing more of it on. Okay, and I'm gonna take Magma just below as well. I feel like you can see, because I don't have any shade up here, or at least enough up here, that I really feel like my eyes are just doing one of these. Boy, I really want to use this really red bronze shade called High Degree. We're going to use that over the top of Magma and just keep moving it in a little bit more. I'm actually going to use just the same brush, and I've just packed some on there. And I'm starting where the two meet, like again, I'm just kind of overlapping it, and then I'm moving it in. And that is such a fiery red, really bronzy. I know that there's another shade called True Bronze. To me, this goes right up there with it. The quality of these shadows is just really, really spectacular. I know you guys are, if you haven't already bought this palette, you're wondering, is it worth it for me to buy? If you don't like warm colors, or if you're kind of over warm colors, you're done with them, don't spend your money on this palette, because that's all this is. I think there are some other palettes out there. You could get a similar kind of look. You're just not going to have the same experience. I feel like I want to drag it up a little bit, kind of soften that outer edge, and I'm just buffing it up to try to give myself that same kind of eye look that I want, where my hood is a little bit more retracted. And this time I did not use the Gerard Cosmetics. I actually used the kind of almost like a concealer that's in the Sculpt and Glow palette from Natasha Denona. Just wanted to see what it would look like on top of it. I feel like I need to go back into Suntan and just kind of connect at the top of the two. And just deepen that up just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna take this color Gloaming. I'm just gonna use a brush to start with. And I'm just gonna pack this on, moving a little closer to the inner corner. And I'm keeping these redder shades a little bit lower on my movable lid, not really going any higher than my crease, because I wanna keep this not as heavy. Those two colors are pretty similar. I just think that there's just a slight gradient in difference. And I'm gonna just take that underneath my eyelashes as well. And we're just doing more of a smoky kind of bronze look, huh? Okay, I haven't used quite every shade in here. I just think that there's so many of these that make just gorgeous single over the lid with a couple of the mattes to kind of buff it out a little bit. I'm gonna go back into the cheek palette, Bounce and Glow blush. She says, Natasha Denona says, you could use this anywhere on your face. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of that right here, kind of lighten it up a little bit. Maybe a little scotch up here. And again with that blush right here, bring a little bit lighter shade there without being blinding. And I want to buff a little bit more up here. While it's fine, I want to do a little bit more drama. I'm going to go back into Deep Dive, and I'm going to put a little bit more just to kind of build up that lash line. I'm just stippling the littlest tiny bit. I'm going to put it right there. This formula, if you haven't seen anybody else's comments on it, is supposed to be a cream to powder formula. I'm gonna put on some mascara and I'll be right back. All right guys, mascara's on. If you want a warm, easy, anything but basic eyeshadow palette, this is a great palette. I'm gonna take some more of that blush and kind of build it up here a little bit. I just really like this palette. I'm gonna use that bronze too, just a little bit. Just on the outer side of my cheeks, right up against my hairline a little bit. That's all I'm gonna do. This isn't a palette for everybody. I get that. I happen to really like it. I have zero buyer's remorse. I've dipped it into a few times now. I don't think I've played with every single look you can get with this palette. I think there's more. And I really, really think that you do one of these three mattes as like your transition shade, and you do an all over the lid, any one of these shimmers, and you have a different look every day. One gives you over a week's, even if you just say 7, you could literally do a different lid color every day for 7 days and have a slightly different variation, and super easy. I love this color to smoke out my lash line. You saw the first look I did was pretty darn dramatic. I'm not upset by this at all. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions about this palette, let me know. If you want me to swatch it with some of the things that people think are dupes from like the Metropolis palette or something else, just let me know and I'll do my best to try to give you guys what you want. If you are new here, hi, my name is Shelly. Please click the subscribe button. I appreciate you guys so much for doing that, and just want you guys to know that I'm thinking about you. Boy, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope coronavirus doesn't have you crazy. And with that, I'm going to say until my next video. Bye for now.